Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Simon with AvaTrade, and I want to welcome everyone to our weekly webinar. What we're trying to do here is create a plan for the week. And as some traders like to use the phrase, you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. It doesn't guarantee success, but it definitely makes things more organized and less spontaneous and chaotic. So that's what we're trying to do here. A few things about myself. This is me, Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. And I started to trade about 23 years ago. I was a prop trader in New York City for about 11 years. And after that, I moved into mentoring and educating other traders and away from intense day trading in the prop firms. And I'm very happy that currently I have a great opportunity to assist our customers at AvaTrade. The agenda of the webinar, of course, this is for new people. The regular audience knows this. So we talk about indices, stocks, commodities, forex. Also, we discuss a little bit of a big picture fundamentally, what's been happening in the week that just ended, and trying to see what's important for the upcoming week. Risk warning, you can find a full statement at avatrade.com. And what we do here is purely educational, of course. The channels of AvaTrade, I highly recommend for you to follow. You have Telegram, you have Twitter, or X, it's called now. Don't like this name. And YouTube channel, as I always say, it's my favorite. You have a lot of info there. You have tutorials, tons of educational material. You have webinars. If you missed a webinar or a few of them, you can always go back and find the webinar you'd like to watch. And it is uploaded. So it's good if you subscribe, click on that bell, you'll be notified when new things are being added. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, please put likes if you like it, don't fake it. And also feel free to share the webinar with people that you think might benefit from it. Would be great. And of course, write comments. Feedback is very, very important. You can write things positive, negative, whatever you'd like, so we can improve things. Thank you. Okay, so before we go into calendar and other things, just we had the week that finished the month of November. We're entering December. A lot of analysts are predicting the continuation of the rally into the end of the year. We had a speech of Powell at the end of the week uh, that affected the market, and basically what Powell said that he he just repeated or said pretty much the same thing, that the FOMC is prepared to raise rates further if it deemed appropriate. So that's pretty much nothing new. And at the same time, he kind of repeated what he was saying at the last meeting, that it is premature to speculate when the rate cuts may start. But market took it in a positive way, and I think the futures that kind of trying to analyze the Fed's next move, they showing or they at least showing an idea that maybe a March meeting could be a cut. It's about 50-50 now for that meeting to see the cuts. But again, it's just public's opinion. But I want to read something really funny. It comes from the Bloomberg, not the Bloomberg, but Barron's report written by Connor Smith. It made me laugh, so I hope it will make you laugh too. I'm just going to read the quote, what he says. So he writes the following. Um, so the question, dove or hawk? And he writes, after months of trying to read between the lines, I decided we need a new method of analyzing Fed speak. So shortly after Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell spoke at Spelman College today, I fed his comments into Marilyn Bird ID, the app from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology that can identify birds by their sound alone. Was that a dove or a hawk? I wanted to know. It turns out the app hasn't nailed central bank vocalization. Luckily for me, the markets made a call. It's kind of funny to read things like that, and I totally agree with him. It's really hard to determine, is it hawkish or is it dovish, what Powell is saying. So it made me laugh. I hope it made you laugh too. So basically, he's writing about using an app to identify the mood of the FOMC. All right, back to serious. So let's take a look here. We spoke about VIX, which is the a fear indicator. Some call it volatility for S&P 500. So as you could see here, we're still held through that 1245 level. We didn't break it. We actually had a nice attempt to move higher this week, but then it just the same day just faded away. So we are sitting here again. Judging by this, market should be overbought, but market doesn't care about it and is continuing higher. We'll talk about details in a moment. Let's go into economic calendar, and before that, I'd like to say a few words, especially for new people. So this is public info. You can find it on our web trader or the app or any third-party provider. It is being reported and kind of showed by all the financial institutions. So like I said, it's a public information. What I do here, I take only the high impact events. As you could see, everything in red. There's more. You can filter through it. You can see what's relevant for your trading, the area of the world you trade, and so on. So these are the things that are happening this week. And before going into it, the highlight of this week, of course, the NFP, the non-farm payroll, that's being reported on Friday. And usually it's the first Friday of the month, but because the first fell on Friday, I guess it was too close for that report. So sometimes when that happens, they move it for the next week. So let's go through the things that's happening. Like I said, these are the high impact events. And, is it important to know? Do you use it? It's up to you. But I believe, and most of the traders believe, that it's important to be aware of certain things happening so you won't be caught by surprise. Okay. So Monday, we have CPI numbers from Switzerland. We have ECB President Lagarde speaking on Monday as well. She better say something good for euro. Euro's been selling. We'll take a look at the moment. We have CPI from Japan, which is also important as we are getting closer to that potential decision of Bank of Japan and finally doing something on increasing the rates. So definitely this thing is something that they are watching for their decision. Tuesday, service PMI from China, interest rate from Australia. We'll be watching that definitely. Service PMI from US on Tuesday. Wednesday brings GDP numbers from Australia, retail sales from European Union, and ADP employment change. So the ADP, it's another agency that's reporting jobs added, and traders and analysts are watching these numbers as it gives a little bit of indication of possible numbers for the NFPs on Friday. So that's ADP employment change. Interest rate decision from Canada. They're planning on keeping the rates the same at 5%. Not planning, this is the consensus, right? We don't know what they plan. Thursday, we have trade balance from Australia. We have GDP numbers from European Union and GDP numbers from Japan as well. And Friday comes the most important announcement. We'll get there in a second. We have CPI from Germany, and here comes the NFP with the hourly earnings, non-farm payroll, and unemployment level. Doesn't show here for some reason, but it is coming out as well. And also we have Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index as well. That's an important data. So Friday is the key announcement, or the most important out of all of them, besides, of course, the interest rate decisions right there. But NFP, if you take it in the level of importance, it's number one. And we have CPI numbers from China on Saturday. So these are the things. Prepare for them, be ready. Some traders get into the trades before, some after. It depends what you do, what's your style, what's your strategy. But these things are important. And again, to stress it again, NFPs are the most important numbers for the week, and they usually come with a lot of volatility on the market. Okay, so let's move now to the trading platform. And we'll start with indices. And I usually start with China, but I'm very excited for the Dow Jones. Dow Jones closed the highest of the year, and we are on the way to challenge. Let me just take these things away so it wouldn't disturb. Okay, so as you could see here, we are challenging the all-time highs on Dow Jones. I tried to analyze what brought Dow Jones higher. I think banks added a lot to it. And out of 3 US indices, Dow Jones was the strongest, as you could see here. Had a nice, super strong recovery starting the end of October. A little bit of correction here, a little bit of consolidation here, and vertical to the upside. Now, will this move continue as some analysts predict into the new year? We'll see. So that's as far as Dow Jones. Again, if we speak these are the futures that we're seeing, right? But if you take the index itself, so it rose 0.8%, and it's a fifth straight week of gains and closing at 2023 high. Okay, and analysts saying that because of dovish notes on Powell's latest remarks. So that's Dow Jones. S&P as well strong. It jumped off that level that was sitting on for a while. So the index was up 0.6%. And NASDAQ it looks the weakest out of 3. And it closed up 0.6%. We are below this recent high here. But just to give you an idea, NASDAQ was already strong, right? So Dow Jones kind of caught up with things and then just exceeded to the upside. So these are the indices. Now, European indices, as you could see here, Germany, 40 or DAX had a nice run. I think a lot of it to do with a cheap euro. We're going to get there when we talk about Forex. So as you could see, DAX here is also on the way to retest the highs of August. Let's see if that happens. And we have UK index, the FTSE, also had a strong couple of days, but it looks weaker comparing to other indices. Let's take a look at China. China is having a hard time. I just ran across a few things last week saying that that foreign investors are taking the money out of China, or at least not putting more into it. So things are not so easy for China. Let's see how things move as we possible. We tried this week, as you could see here. We tried to retest these lows of the end of October, and then we bounced a little bit. So that's China. Nikkei is still playing with this level right here, 33,500 roughly. We had up and downs. We're still holding into that level. So let's see how the public digests this Powell's bird singing, using the analogy of Connor Smith here. And let's see how we start the week. And again, just to remind us all that this is the NFPs. And the Feds, just to again remind us, three aspects the Feds are watching in their decisions, and we are 10 days to the next interest rate decision. So they're looking at the state of economy. They're looking at employment situation, and they're looking at the CPI numbers mostly. They look at the level of inflation. And last week, they look at the consumer spending expenditures. I always mix those names. They're kind of funny. But they took the numbers as positive for the market, a further showing of inflation slowing. So this week we have one of those three aspects, which is employment, which is a big thing. And we'll see how it shows, and we'll see how it might potentially will affect the Fed's decision in the 10 days time. Okay, so that's as far as indices. Also, the treasuries, the 10-year yields slid a little bit to 4.2, below 4.5. So that give also more boost to the markets and to the banks. So we'll start with the banks actually, as they had a pretty good run this past week, and it looks like they contributed a lot into Dow Jones. So here's JP Morgan, the champion. He's or it is on the way to retest the highs, but a nice move, nice recovery here, and it looks exactly as the chart of Dow Jones. Let's take a look. The low here was on October 27th. Let me just check because I'm very visual. It looks to me exactly. Here we go, October 27th. Pretty much the same. It just exceeded the previous resistance. JP Morgan didn't. So here we go. JP Morgan, a nice run to the upside. Goldman as well. I think showing a lot of strength over here. Bank of America, across the board, we have nice move to the upside in the banking area. So definitely we'll be watching how they act around these levels. Of course, it will be depending on a lot of things, and mostly the Fed's next singing. I feel like calling it singing after what I read about this app on recognizing the birds. Sorry to bring it in again. So that's banking. Few other things. Want to show you the pharmaceuticals, the two opposite stories. We have Johnson & Johnson. Where are you? Here we go. A nice move to the upside. The stock was upgraded from neutral to buy by UBS and other banks. The stock had a nice move in the past few sessions, and we are approaching the 200 moving average here. At the same time, a resistance from which was sold. So we'll be watching price action on Johnson & Johnson. Pfizer, the opposite story. The stock was down 6%. And this is big. Tried to find out what happened there, and what happened here, that on Friday, the stock was down 6% after the company said it would not move to a phase 3 trial. So they've been working on this weight loss drug that people would take twice a day, and they stopped the trials after patients having some or a lot of side effects. So this is serious. I guess the investors were hoping for that pill to come out, which is the area that's popular these days, the weight loss or obesity. And they just stopped the trial. So no drug is happening, I guess. So a drop of 6% here. And, if you're already here, let's take a look at Teva. We've been talking about it here and there. It's holding after hitting 10 again. Okay, if you remember, we spoke about here that we made a lower low here. Sorry, the higher low comparing with the previous one. And we talked about it, that it's possibly going to move higher and continue to 10 and possibly 11, just to show us this thing. We've been sitting here for a while. We've been talking about this stock a few times. So let's watch Teva, how it acts from these levels. We're between 950 and 10, building up for next move. Let's see which way that move happens. Boeing, it's been strong. Just to remind us again, we've been talking about it lately since the latest air show when there was a huge order and other orders coming in for Boeing. And they had some green light for the troubled airplane that was investigated. So a nice move. We just broke this current week. We broke through the highs of end of August, around 230 to 31. We closed at 233.41. Let's see if we manage to get to this previous highs around 240, 242 levels, and how we feel around those levels. GM. If you remember, we spoke about GM with the subject of strike of the union. The stock gapped, and it had a strong week after that. And I tried to research it, and I found that Paul Jacobson, the CFO, I'm going to quote what he said on Thursday. He said, it's about the concerns of the bad reviews and so on. So he said, what we've been talking about is a slowdown in the growth of demand. It's not a slowdown. It's a slowdown in the rate of increase. I fully expect that to happen. So I guess these comments and finally getting out of that issue with the strikes had a nice boost for GM. Let's see, we are trying to climb into this area around 33, and let's see how the stock feels around that level. And then brings us to Tesla, which is all about the Cybertruck. I'm not going to go into that. That's a lot of positive and negative. I think in the upcoming days and weeks, we'll have more idea about the truck. It's all about pricing. It's all about the tax credits and so on. Now, speaking of cars, Uber, we haven't been talking about it for a while, and Uber has been strong here, as you could see. It's been stepping up with a lot of confidence, as you could see. So it reminds me a while ago when we spoke about Uber, when I remember there was an earning call and the CEO said the good things are coming to Uber and so on. And I was a little bit skeptical there. And I guess he was right. Things are great for Uber. They do adding more services and more areas and so on. And the stock has been super, super strong. No sell-offs at all since this beginning of the move, end of October. Right. Again, another chart reminds us of Dow Jones here. Okay, let's move into commodities, and we start with oil. There was a lot of issues with OPEC meeting being delayed and finally happening on November 30th last week. Where are you, crude oil? Okay, so after the meeting, oil really sold, and I collected some info here. So I'm just going to read it from the article here. So OPEC Plus, quoting it from the article, OPEC Plus voluntary cuts the same lows here and down close on Friday. Let's see what brings now. Again, we're entering winter, and natural gas is usually very sensitive to the weather prediction. So maybe we'll hear some news or some predictions or forecast, they call it, for the weather. And let's see, maybe we'll be in favor for natural gas, or maybe the opposite. So here's your natural gas sitting here waiting for something. And the last two things in commodities, cocoa. Finally, we see a sell-off here. Just to show you monthly chart, cocoa. So again, supply is very low, and the commodity has been running. And as you could see here, Friday was a sell-off, kind of trying to erase the previous two sessions. Let's see if this is a temporary thing or possible reversal. We're gonna watch that. Sugar had a nice sell-off here after a long consolidation, as you could see here. We made a nice move to the upside and a lot of congestion here. So after trying to break this level here for 4 sessions, we finally broke on Thursday and Friday, continued, and we are approaching the 200 moving average here. And at the same time, as you could see visually here, we are sitting on the level of the previous support. Okay, how do we know? A lot of actions here. There was a resistance first, then we broke through it, then we established support. So we're right at that level around 25. Let's see how that works out for sugar. Maybe it was overreactive and we go higher, or maybe we'll dip below that 25 again. Let's see also how we act around the 200 moving average here. Forex, like I mentioned to you, dollar index had a strong 2 sessions and sell-off on Friday. And we are holding to 103. As we spoke about it last week, we clearly have a channel between 103 and 104, and it's going to be acting here until it chooses a direction. We did try to break below, then again we ran up above 103, and with the sell-off again with all the dovish singing. Sorry, I can